Welcome back to my latest Jaguars video here on Schlick Sports. I'm your host, Noah Schlicksup. Let's get right into it. The legal tampering period began yesterday, and the Jaguars wasted no time getting busy. They were throwing out money like it was nothing, and they filled some big holes on their roster, which may have secured their spot as one of the biggest winners of free agency. That is yet to be seen, because they could also end up being one of the bigger losers of free agency, as they had to spend so much extra to do it with players that just aren't worth that much value. However, was it worth it to get Trevor Lawrence the weapons he needs? Was it worth giving Christian Kirk, a wide receiver who's never had an 1,000-yard season, and making him the third highest paid wide receiver in the NFL? Well, that remains to be seen. For now, I'm going to break it down for you guys today. Let's get started. In today's video, I'm going to get you caught up on what's gone down in the legal tampering period so far for the Jaguars, which means teams can talk to players and negotiate contracts, even sign them to deals, although they won't become official until Wednesday at 4 o'clock Eastern Time when free agency, the new league year, starts. They are all but done deals. And I'm going to grade every signing the Jaguars made on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being terrible, 5 being average, 10 being amazing, and analyze where the Jaguars go next. Let's break it down. With their first move of the day, the Jaguars started things off with a bang and a perfect 10 for my grade when they signed Washington Commanders offensive guard Brandon Sheriff. And that's because Sheriff, frankly, the best offensive guard available, and in my opinion, top 2, top 3 offensive linemen available in this free agent class, arguably the best. He is coming here on a 3-year, $45 million deal, 30 of it going to be guaranteed. A University of Iowa grad, the former 5th overall selection of the Washington Commanders. He's 30 years old, the number 18 overall free agent for Pro Football Focus. Didn't allow a single sack in the 2021 season, and he's coming here on a 3-year, $45 million deal, 30 of it guaranteed money. And man, 5 Pro Bowl appearances, an All-Pro selection. He's going to be bringing some quality to this inner part of the Jacksonville O-line, especially after A.J. Khan and Andrew Norwell's contracts expired. Khan officially gone to the Houston Texans. Norwell remains to be seen, but looks like he's heading off somewhere else as well. Sheriff bringing some quality to Duval County. Jaguars followed up that move with Foley Fatukasi, former Jets defensive tackle, former 6th-round pick. He's had to fight to be in this position, known as one of the better run stoppers in this free agent class. He's 27 years old, and I expected him to be more of a depth piece when the Jaguars signed him, but then I saw the contract details. 3 years, $30 million, $20 million guaranteed. So they obviously expect him to play a role on this defense, and he does fit the scheme very well. He'll be joining Devon Hamilton, Malcolm Brown, also 2 very big players in stopping the run game. That's obviously what they're trying to build on this defensive, at least the inner part of this defensive line. We'll see how the signing turns out, especially here in this first season. Going to be interesting to see how he performs. For now, I'm giving it a 6, considering how well he fits into the Jaguars scheme. Though linebacker wasn't the Jaguars' biggest need heading into the offseason, the signing of Foye Oluokun was definitely a welcome surprise. He's coming off of a season in which he was the NFL's leading tackler with 192 tackles, 102 of them coming solo. He had 2 interceptions, 3. He had 2 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Only 26 years old. They signed him to a 3-year, $45 million deal, and this move got a lot more interesting after the Jaguars released Myles Jack this morning. It surprised me. He's coming off of a season in which he was the team's leading tackler on defense. He's been a really good linebacker for the Jaguars for a long time. However, just hasn't really reached that elite level quite yet. Foye, bringing that kind of play to the Jaguars linebacker core. I'm giving this signing a 9.5. He's signing a 3-year, $45 million deal. I already mentioned that, but for the next 3 years, should be fun to watch. Now on to the signing that's got everybody talking, tweeting, and reading about Christian Kirk. Now, was $84 million too much? Yeah. However, could this end up being a really good signing for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Also, yes. Listen, if this is what it took to get him, I'm not opposed to it. Because it was after they missed out on Amari Cooper, it was Kirk, Robinson, or bust, frankly. And they're still lacking a number one option. That's something they're going to have to try and get in the draft. Or potentially trade for. I don't see that happening, though. However, Kirk, going to be a really good number two option and probably number one to start out the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. At the time of this signing, he is 25 years old. Last season, caught 74.8% of passes thrown his way. Only 4 wide receivers in the NFL totaled better in that category, who had at least 75 targets. Those guys, Cooper Kupp, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hunter Renfrow, and Chris Godwin. Not bad company. Was 24th out of wide receivers last year in terms of receiving yardage, even though he was playing behind DeAndre Hopkins and with guys like AJ Green, Zach Ertz, and Rondale Moore getting consistent targets. His 40-yard dash time of 4.46 seconds was faster than Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Deebo Samuel, Michael Thomas, and the same as Stephon Diggs. This guy is exactly what the Jaguars need at receiver. He consistently gets open, does a great job of that. He's got great hands, pulls in most of the targets, and just frankly, the perfect fit for this Jaguars receiving corps. Exactly the type of guy Trevor Lawrence needed on this team to throw to. I'm giving this signing an 8, and only because of how much we paid him, that still is a factor. However, Kirk, looking to prove people wrong, he tweeted this after everyone's reaction to it. I'm a Christian Kirk fan. I'm giving this signing an 8. Good signing by the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars signed former Giants tight end and second-round pick Evan Ingram to a 1-year, $10 million prove-it deal. I love this signing by the Jaguars. Evan Ingram, really talented, big-bodied tight end, and gives Trevor Lawrence exactly what he needs, a consistent target right there. The injury bug has haunted him a bit in the past, but each of the past 2 seasons, he's appeared in at least 15 games. He's a good tight end and an athletic one as well. Some teams have even wanted him possibly as a big slot receiver. So he's got good tools, and we'll see if he can put things together. Here in Jacksonville, does good history with tight ends, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert. I mean, he's been good with tight ends in the past. He seems to like Ingram, and he's got Dan Arnold behind him, who was good before he got hurt with the Jaguars this season. This sets up a perfect spot. This sets up perfectly for the Jaguars to draft a tight end in the middle rounds of the draft, maybe even as high as the 3rd. Try to get a guy like Jaden Weidermeyer, possibly Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin, to sit behind Ingram for a year, and if this deal doesn't work out, then they can come through. Ingram, probably the most talented tight end the Jaguars have had in quite a while. I really like this deal for both sides. We'll see if Ingram can live up to it. Last signing the Jaguars have made so far is another wide receiver, Zay Jones. I'm giving this one a grade of 4. And here's why. They're giving him $30 million for 3 years. And this is a guy who is coming off of a season where he had over 500 receiving yards, but still, you're paying him on average up to $10 million a year. He's 26 years old. He's 6'2", 200, so does give Trevor Lawrence a big target at receiver. He's got good hands, really good speed. Ran a 4.45 at the draft a few years ago. It's just the money that's bringing this signing down. Does bring good depth to the wide receiver room. Still, the Jaguars going to be looking for the number 1 guy, but, not a bad sign. Just a little too much money. As for where the Jaguars go next, well, I'd like to see him address the secondary. They've been linked to Darius Williams, the corner, local product out of Creekside. Go Knights. Broadcast for him. But he's actually a great story, undrafted out of UAB, waived by the Ravens, and then won a Super Bowl with the Rams as their number 2 cornerback behind Jalen Ramsey. He'd be a perfect fit here in Jacksonville, teaming up with Shaquille Griffin and Tyson Campbell in the secondary. I'd love to see him address the safety position as now. They haven't been linked so far to anybody, but Terrell Edmonds I could see as a possible suitor, 25-year-old former first-round pick. And he's been okay in his career, and I could see the Jaguars trying to make a run at him and give him a prove-it type deal. And then Calais Campbell, bringing him in on the D-line, the veteran, just bringing a veteran presence, I believe, would be huge for this defense. Another veteran they could bring in. They need to address the outside linebacker position. Chandler Jones. Could he be a fit? Who knows? And as for wide receiver, I think the Jaguars try to find their future number one man in this year's NFL draft. And two guys I'm watching very closely are Drake London as a potential guy that the Jaguars could select if they were to trade back in the mid to later first round. London, very talented ball skills, 6'5", 200, really a physique right there. He is amazing out of USC. George Pickens, the Georgia product, has struggled a little bit with injury, but 6'3", 201, averaged 15 yards a catch and ran a 4.47 40-yard dash. He's got a ton of potential at 33. We'll see what the Jaguars decide to do, but for now, that's all I got for you. I'm sure I got plenty more coming your way as we're just getting started. Free agency hasn't even officially begun yet. So you see plenty more of this kind of content heading your way. But for now, I'm Noah Schlicksup signing off. See you guys next time here on Schlick Sports.